Hello boys and girls, welcome to another episode of FoulkesBrau. Welcome to part 2 of the Lyman 1200 gunpowder loading system. I managed to pick up some tactile switches on the way home from work at Communico Electronics, so let's get on the bench and let's see how we're going to repair this machine. Right, so here on the bench we have our old keypad, if you can remember, the one that is stuffed. Remember the line is broken over there, and as we can see, this keypad will fit over that portion, so that means the keys are in here. So what I managed to get, first of all, these 6-pin 2.54mm pitch connectors, so that will replace that connector over there. And what we've done, or what I've managed to get my hands on, is some of these tactile switches. Just get it open. Oh, come on. And it's got a 3.5mm actuator, which is fine. So as you can see, it will stick out a little bit once mounted, which is perfect. So what we can do, we take that out the way, is I've just made a wiring diagram how these switches are connected to the lines. But what we can do is we can mount these switches in this perf board like that, and if we mount 6 switches, that will fit up nicely in the center of that. We can pretty much mount this up. So yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a train smash. So if we look at it like that, that will be in the center of that one. And if we took another one and mounted a bit along, just keeping track of the amount of holes in between, so around about there, I guess. That is almost smack bang in the center. You can't really see it, but it's almost smack bang in the center, yeah. Maybe one pitch over. One set of holes. Yeah, that aligns perfectly center. So let's take another one. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we put in the 6th pitch like that, that should be perfectly smack bang on center for all 3. Two, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Then all that's left is to obviously solder them in and then go and put in bridges, these bridges, to make up the 6 data lines of the, or six points of the matrix. So let me just position the other 3 switches and then we will come back. Right, so our switches are placed in the correct orientation. The strips run horizontally, and one thing that's important to make sure of is that we are breaking on the vertical axis. So if I press the switch, you should hear the beep. There we go, so it's continuous. Right, all our switches are evenly placed. The only thing for me to do is to solder these in place and then put these bridge pieces. So if we're looking at like this, that switch is going to be 1. Let's put it like this. Okay, so that's line 1, line 1, line 2, line 3. 4, 5 and 6. So that one there should be our cal 0, which is right, cal 0. The next one here in the middle, edit norm or edit memory. This one will be the recall. From left to right, we will have new mem, unit, and the last one on off. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to just clean this with a bit of isopropyl alcohol, and I will solder them in place, and then we can come back and carry on. Right, I've soldered our switches in place. And if we look at this, we've got our top line. It's going to come to the top line of switch 2. Those 2 will leave common, so what we'll do is we'll drill out in between. You see, we'll break the traces in between the switches. So what we've got to do is we've got to come from the top line of switch 2 to the bottom of switch 3. Now what I have is these little kit pieces you could buy, little jumpers, PCB jumpers. So I'm going to use them to make up our perf board. To watch me solder these things is going to be just painful. So what I'll do is I will solder in our kit piece, little bridge pieces, and I will drill out the holes, and then we'll come back and have a look at our little PC board. So here we are yet once again on the bench, and what I did is I made up this little switchboard that I thought, no, this would work perfectly for what we want, not realizing if we put it in here, you can see there are these screw points and that the board doesn't fit nicely. There's another screw point. So I gave up on that idea. Then I had another bright idea of making up this matrix switch and tacking each switch down and then building our switch matrix like that. And of course not realizing that when you use super glue, it actually eats the plastic and destroys the switch. So to give you an example, let's see if I can get two little grabber leads. There we go. So I'm just going to hook a lead onto each side like that. We'll connect it to my multimeter leads. We'll just switch it to continuity for now, like that. And we'll put the other one in like that. And if we press the switch, you can hear the switch clicking, nothing happens. But if I really force and jiggle the switch, it makes. So clearly the super glue didn't like what we did there. To get the switches out, we just used a little bit of percussive love, a little bit of percussive maintenance. Obviously the switch is glued there. If you just give it a sharp knock, the super glue cracks, and then you can actually pry it out quite easily. So what I thought now is we'll use something that's not running and not invasive, that shouldn't go into the casing of the switch. And what I thought we'd use is this a quickset putty. It's a combination of the activator and the glue itself. It makes a putty. You mix them together, and so what we can do, luckily I bought more than enough spare switches, is if we put the switch there, obviously the correct orientation, if we just put a bit of the bond down there where my probe is, and on the other side, obviously not being wet and runny, that shouldn't destroy anything. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to prepare a little bit of Pratley putty over here, mix it together, and we'll put one switch in as a test, and then we will come back to you. Right, so here we are back again. I've given the switches a little bit of time to dry. Actually not that much long, maybe about an hour or two, and they are clicking away. And just to show you, I actually have done this offline, but just to show you, I'm just going to switch my multimeter to continuity, and what we'll do is we'll just hook this little clip like that across, and so when we press the switch we should hear it beep like that. And of course we can go across and they will all work. So the moral of the story is, do not use super glue or quick bond for this, because it actually eats the casing of the switch. And our last one. Perfect. So all our switches are working. So it seems like super glue has got something called cyanoacrylate or something like that in it, and that eats up the plastic casings of these. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our diagram like this. Sorry for bumping the camera. And I'm going to wire
between these switches, I'm going to put in little jumper leads with this, what is this, 0.2, I think it's 0.2, yeah, 0.22 mil cable. And basically what I'm going to do is build up the same bridge network that we had. I'm not going to do it on camera, it's just going to take time, and it might be a bit awkward. But what I'm going to do before I do any of rebuilding is I'm just going to tin each lead like that. Just so it's easier to solder to. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I will finish this up off air, and we will come back when I've soldered all the bridge pieces in, and we will take it from there. Right, so we have our, let's just zoom in a little bit, we have our little jumper wires and bridges soldered into all the switches, and I'm just using this little 7-core ribbon cable that I have. And what I'm going to do, I have these 2.5 mil pitch header connectors, so you can see in there is the little female pins that I have to make up. So what I'll do is I'll make those up. I'm going to do it off camera because it's just tedious, and we will come back when we are ready to put power on this thing and see if it works. Right, the moment of truth is here. I can see our little mod board is in here. Here's the LCD that will go over that, and the LCD screen will fit in there. Obviously I will just put some insulator over that, and let's see if it's going to work. I'm just going to move everything around a little bit. Clearly this is not going to work the way I want. Right, where is our power cord for this thing? Okay, let's just move the LCD up and adjust the brightness. So if we use this matrix that we have, if we press this left top one, it should switch the unit on. So that's what I'm going to do. Actually, I can move the screen down, or the keypad down, and there it switches on. Magic. If I press and hold it, it should switch off. Perfect. And it switches on. Obviously I won't be able to change anything because now it's got to go through its warm-up sequence. Yeah, pressing, recall. No, I don't know what any of that means. Let's see if we can go out of it. Unit. Lyman. Okay, well, I really have no idea what I'm doing, but it looks like if I press the right buttons, it's doing the right thing. So all I'm going to do now, like I said, is on the back In other words, it's going to go over here. I'm just going to put some insulator. I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut off this ribbon and paste it over there so it will look like they are pressing the switches. Meanwhile, they are pressing the mechanical switches. So I'm going to call that a repair. Long way to get around it. The easiest way would have been just to buy one of these 2x3 matrices. The problem is, being in South Africa, our post office doesn't work, so I can't even order that from eBay. So we've got around it by doing this, and that seems to be working very well. So I'm going to set up for the end shot and we'll come back for that. Well, there you have it, boys and girls. We come to the end of another repair. Not very exciting. All we did is we traced the matrix from the keypad back, and we made a couple of little switches do the work for us. Switches were about R2 from Communica. They are 3.5mm actuator switches, so they fit just nicely through the case so that you have a little bit protruding from the end. If you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's this Castle-free rubbish 0% alcohol beer. Apparently from Monday we will be able to buy alcohol again. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you found this repair entertaining. I hope it gives you an idea, if you've got one of these things, where to look, and because they are relatively expensive little gadgets. Anyway, as always, I hope you had fun. Take care, be safe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.